Le passé simple. Okay. What is le passé simple? It's a past tense. It's a verb tense. It's used only in written language. You will never or should never hear it in spoken language. It's often used in literary or historical writing, as well as fairy tales. It implies a distance between the writer and the narrator, or a completed action in the past with no connection to the present tense. I say that just because sometimes I'm asked why, for example, in a novel, might some of the action be written in the passé simple and some of the action be in the passé composé. So that is how best to explain it. The passé simple, like the passé composé, is used to describe completed actions. So you use it in a similar fashion, but unless there are these special circumstances, you won't use them in the same piece. So just as with the passé composé, you use passé composé and imparfait, depending on whether it's a completed action or an ongoing action. When you're writing a literary work or historical piece, you will use the passé simple and the imparfait. So the passé simple will be used to describe your completed actions, and your imparfait, again, to describe your ongoing actions or for your descriptions. So how do we form it? You remove the ending of the verb's infinitive and you add the appropriate endings. So it's pretty simple. So for ER verbs, chanter, for example, we take off the ER, our stem is chant. We add these endings. AI, AS, A circonflexe MES, A circonflexe TES, E accent grave RANT. So they're quite different looking verbs, especially the nous, vous, and il, elle. Nous chantâmes, vous chantâtes, ils, elles chantèrent. There is no mistaking what they are. They can really only be the passé simple. Don't get confused, however, with the endings on the je, tu, and il, elle. AI, AS, A, well, they are the same endings as you would use for the future. But of course, if you're conjugating something in the future, you would use the infinitive or the future stem. So it would look very different, of course. It would be chanterait, chantera, chantera. That would be the future. So you can tell straight away that it's not the future, that it is in fact the passé simple. It's chanter, tu chantas, il, elle chanta. So what about IR verbs? We use IS, IS, IT, I circonflexe MES, I circonflexe TES, IRANT. Again, the nous, vous, il, elle look very different. Nous finîmes, vous finîtes, il, elle finirent. The je finis, tu finis, il, elle finit looks like the present tense, so just be careful there. For RE verbs, we use those I endings as well. So vendre, for example, we'll take off the RE, we'll be left with the stem vend. We add those I endings, IS, IS, IT, I circonflexe MES, I circonflexe TES, IRANT. Again, nous vendîmes, vous vendîtes, ils, elles vendirent. Very different. The je, tu, il, elle also don't look like anything else as well. Je vendis, tu vendis, il, elle vendit. So you will hopefully look at those and think, oh, yes, of course, passé simple. There are many irregular verbs, obviously, just as there are in English. Let's start with être because that's one you will probably come across the most. Je fus, okay, it's F. Tu fus, il, elle fut, nous fûmes, vous fûtes, ils, elles furent. As you can see, I know this is irregular, it's got an irregular stem, but there is a pattern nonetheless of these endings. All the passé simple endings look the same. There is a pattern there nonetheless. Okay, avoir. J'eus, tu eus, il, elle eut, nous eûmes, vous eûtes, ils, elles eurent. Now, hopefully, you're looking at this and thinking, oh, I wonder where they got that EU from as a stem. And hopefully you've worked it out that it is indeed the past participle, EU. Later on, you will see that some irregular verbs in the passé simple do form their passé simple forms by using their past participle as a stem, but we'll get on to that later. Anyway, avoir is one of them. I've put faire here as well because I don't want you to get confused with avoir, with être. Être, of course, is je fus, with U endings, but faire is F, like être, but it has the I endings. Je fis, tu fis, il, elle fit, nous fîmes, vous fîtes, il, elle firent. Voir, I've put here as well, it follows the I endings. There are a great many, as I mentioned, that use their past participles as their stem. Voir is not one of them, clearly, because the past participle of voir is vu. Je vis, tu vis, il vit, nous vîmes, vous vîtes, il, elle virent. The venir series I've put here because they're quite particular. This includes venir, tenir, devenir, revenir, any verbs ending in E-N-I-R. They've got an N. Je vins, tu vins, il, elle vint, nous vîmes, vous vîntes, il, elle vinrent. So they're quite particular. You just need to learn them. So, here are some verbs that form their past participle that form their passé simple forms by using their past participle as a stem. These ones have past participles ending in I. So they use their past participle and then use the I endings for the passé simple. For example, dormir, dormi, je dormis, nous dormîmes. Mentir, menti, je mentis. Partir, parti, je partis. Sentir, senti, je sentis. Servir, servi, je servis. Sortir, sorti, je sortis. Rire, ris, je ris. Sourire, souris, je souris. Suffire, suffit, je suffis. And I put suffire in here. It means to suffice, to be sufficient, to be enough. Don't confuse it with souffrir, which means to suffer and has different rules altogether. It has a different past participle, it has different rules. So suffire, suffit, je suffis. Suivre, suivi, je suivis. Similarly, those verbs ending with I plus a consonant also use their past participle as their stem for the passé simple plus the I endings. We have acquérir, acquis, j'acquis, nous acquîmes. Dire, dit, je dis. Mettre, mis, je mis. Pris, prendre, pris, je pris, etc.